Welcome to Colney Talk Podcast.
Hello, everybody. How are you doing? You're listening to Colney Talk Podcast, a bite-sized show. I'm your host, Alex. First-time listeners, thank you and welcome. And to my returning listeners, glad to have you as well. On the show, I pick out my top 3 Arsenal performers in the game and the other guy who didn't perform up to the standards or had a poor game. Arsenal visited Everton at the Goodison Park. A rejuvenated bottom Everton team with a new coach, Sean Dyche, defeated Arsenal. It was a very disappointing 1-0 loss for the Gunners. We really have had a long bad result at that ground. It's been, I think, since 2017, I believe, and the streak just continues. We had so many poor individual performances, lack of fluidity while in possession. I don't think the stats will justify anything against this loss. The numbers just wouldn't do anything as some sort of commiserations or something that we can hang on to as an encouragement. We would have to just bounce back or just look beyond this game as a result of how poor we performed. Starting off in the game, there was lots of attacking threat from Everton. 3 very close chances in that first half. They had 4 corners in the first 20 minutes from very high and tight presses. They had the better chances than Arsenal in this game. I mean, it was just clear to see. We got pushed far back in our half. Arsenal had to keep resuming the ball passing coordination. Arsenal, I mean, especially the defense, we allowed Dominic Calvert-Lewin to just move freely in our box. I just didn't like seeing that. And a couple of those chances came from him. We tried settling the game just around the 37th minute in the first half from the pressure that we endured. Ben White, with some shaky passes, and he wasn't the only one that had a lot of poor passes and just not really staying or growing more into the game. Double teaming on Saka. I mean, there were just so many different variations that made this game so tough for us to really get into. I mean, there was just intense tussle between Mykolenko and Saka, even though that didn't stop him in a number of his forward movements. And given the very high intensity from Everton players, Arsenal was not able to play through the midfield from Odegaard and Partey combination, and there was nothing we can just generate from that side. So we just had to revert to playing from the sides. We do that often. Maybe that's one of our usual ways of moving the balls anyway, but you can just see that nothing was happening in the midfield. Our inside play was poor, losing the ball easily. I mean, Martinelli and Odegaard hardly had a sniff on the ball in the first half. I mean, for the majority of the game. I mean, there were some successful ball progression and press evading combinations from the Gunners, but that often just resulted in interception in their boxes or just scuffed shots in the stand or just not very direct, clinical shots that could have been very good attempts and maybe just giving us some encouragement in that build-up and trying to attempt to go again. It was a really rough first half to watch, a very frustrating one at that. And then come second half, very little change. I mean, we had a subs, which, right after we conceded that goal, Arsenal tried to get a spark, but not much of it. I mean, blocked shots, cleared chances. I mean, I could see a growing sense of urgency from the team as they try to kick on, but it was just now a lot of game stopping, scrapping, time wasting, just all these little tactics and hard fouls to really drag out the game time and just, I guess, close out or hang on to their 1-0 lead. We just couldn't find anything, and it really just timed out to the game, and we just lost it that way. And it was just a very unfortunate performance. And for much of the play and how most of the players performed, these were my better performance from the bunch. First guy, Saka. He stayed in the game. He fought as hard as he could. He was not sharp in his shots, although he had one slotting shot that was going into the corner in the post, but it was cleared anyway. And he was double teamed, Saka did not allow that to rattle him. I like that he also gave his own share of tussle and tackling with Everton defenders. He kept charging on with the ball when he was on it, and to me, that was at least a better performance and a better attempt to just continue just going on, getting at the game from most of our attackers in the front. The next player, Zinchenko, he managed the press well, as you've heard me talk so highly about him. He handled the transitions that he made between midfield and left back position, as you also would see how he does it in the game. I liked his defending on Iwobi, how he would just push him back with the ball, and he really tucked in and stayed tight on him. And I fully support the way he stood up to Mope, because that guy, he is just a jerk. And to him, more karma is coming his way, guaranteed. I know that. And Zinchenko, to me, he did no wrong in my eye. He played really well. Some, poor decisions here and there, but I mean, he's one of my better players in this game. He contributed a lot in our gameplay, just trying to get the ball going and, keeping with our passes, but, usually would end up with broken plays and interceptions. But a lot of that contributions came from Zinchenko. Now, my last player from the bunch, Xhaka. Though he wasn't the brightest, as I've mentioned, he certainly wasn't the worst. His passes and crosses in the box, transitions, helping in defense when we needed was there, but we needed a little bit more because nothing really happened in that midfield when we had Partey, and even when the substitutions had happened. We needed to do a lot more to break their low block formations, and that just didn't happen. Xhaka did. He played an okay game, and in all, I couldn't say much wrong about that, and he was just one of the players that I could pick out. Now, my other guy today wasn't a guy. It was guys. It was a collective. It wasn't just one player. There were at least 3, 4, 5 of them that I could just pick out who could fit into my guy today. So I'm not gonna just pick one person and not really lose sight of how some of these other players did just as poorly as the others. So it was a collective bunch of guys today, and I'll just leave it as a collective bunch. Their contributions and energy levels didn't help nor encourage in how we needed to get that elevated spark in the game. It was just truly disappointing, and it was just cut and dry poor for this bunch of players that were on the team sheet and we're on the field today. It just wasn't good to see. That's pretty much the summary of the game. There's not much we can talk about. We've lost, but this is not one of those lose the game but then encouraging like we've had in the past. It was just top down, poor performance, and we lost the game, and that's that. So I'll leave it here, folks. There's not much to go on about the game. I'll take the cue from the manager and encourage the team to push on. That's all we can do anyway. We clean this off our memory and bounce back. I look forward to the better side of our team when we're winning and doing what we normally do. So that's how we can just look at this game concluded and move on. Thanks for listening, folks. Take care, and bye for now.